Hi guys, Cindy from Cindy's Art. So good to be with you again. Those of you who have been checking in on my videos, please feel free to click subscribe so you can be notified of when we are meeting together again. And on the community page of my channel, please don't hesitate to put in what you would like me to work on as far as a video, whether that's techniques or doing landscapes or oceans or flowers. Let me know what you would like us to paint and we'll do it together. So today, this watercolor landscape, I started off with a simple wash towards the bottom. I just put in some of my dark tones to know where the road was. I protected the light with the sky. And the sky, I am going to deepen and add some more crimson. I think I used crimson alizarin. I am forgetting how to say that, but I'll correct it as we go on. So I did some quick washes so I could see where the color would be for the trees in the background, the sky in the background, and then some of the colors and shading in the foreground for the trees. So you can see this is not necessarily a pretty picture when we start off. And just remember, pictures develop as you continue to paint. So I am just going to inlay some of my trees now. That's where I'm at with this painting. And this is a wet on wet, but I've only put the water where I want to work on the trees. I just wet down this tree trunk, and as I'm adding a little bit of color in, it's going to self-blend. And I want it lighter towards the top because we've got this mist action going on, and I'm going to deep it up towards the bottom because that's where the color becomes more vibrant, intense, and the details show. So I'm going to continue to work on my trees here for a minute, and you can lay yours out as well and follow along. Make sure that you're letting your paper dry really well before you work on the next section. I let this dry and then I placed this little bit of paper towel on the painting because I don't want the oil from my hand to get on the paper. Once oil does, it's actually going to create a mark, and it doesn't matter how much I paint, that oil is on the paper and it will actually cause more water or more paint to kind of mark up the paper, and you can't remove that. So one way you can protect your work is by laying a paper towel like this down. It allows me to keep working and feel like I can select where I want to work on the paper. And I'm just putting in a few of the key tree trunks, not all of them in one section. I just want to put a few in so I can decide as I move along which tree trunks do I want really dark and prominent, which ones do I want faded towards the background. And the ones that are going to be in the background, you're going to see me do more wet on wet. And as I move forward in the painting, I'm going to do more wet on dry. That means I have a wet brush, but I'm painting it onto dry paper. It allows me to get a real crisp line. The other thing I'm going to do is protect the mist. I don't need to have a solid black tree going all the way up and down. And you can look at the reference photo while we work along, and you can see that there's mist. There's where the mist is, it's cloudy. It's not as heavily detailed. And so that's the way we created it on our paper. All right, let's keep going. One thing I want to mention is as I am moving to put these tree lines in, you can see that I've got these blue blobs, like where there's leaves. And that is the Pueblo, I think that's how you say it. It's masking fluid. And I put the brand inside of the description of my video. So you can check that out on Amazon. It's a good price on there. So that's why I listed it on there. But I blocked out my leaves in the beginning after I sketched my painting and I put this on. I lost the first part of the video, guys. That's why sometimes I explain to you and say, here's what I laid down as my basic foundation for my painting and then went forward. So I am still an amateur a little bit on videoing, and I'm working on my skills just like we're all working on our skills for painting. So if you have any good tips for me for videoing, do not hesitate to share that with me. I love learning new skills, and this is one way for me to do that. So we're going to continue to lay these trees in, and you can see that those in the background are much lighter than those in the foreground. And then notice too how towards the bottom I'm adding a little bit of my tree shadows in, and we'll develop that more and develop the leaf color and develop the depth of this painting as we move forward. Investing in good tools for your painting doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. I use 99-cent sponges, and I will cut them up. I will chop those babies up and I will cut into them so I can get these odd shapes. And whatever shapes I'm getting, I work on scrap paper for me to see what actually might look like the edge of a fir tree or a regular tree. Right now I'm adding in the light colors of the trees, add the light, then add in the dark. So this is a very cheap sponge, and I don't mind if I use sticks, anything I can get my hands on that would help me create some texture, but without breaking the bank or spending 5 hours painting leaves. So try different things. So right now you can see I'm using the tip of another sponge. This one was a $5 packet that I bought at our Hobby Lobby here in Michigan. And we also have dollar stores. Some of you are in other nations. Dollar stores means that I can buy products that are super cheap. And I can buy a pack of sponges that were really cheap. And again, I'll still cut those up. So think of cloths, think of sponges, anything that you can think of in the house that you might use that you could dip in paint, and you could actually dip it on the paper and create some kind of texture and use those for your tools. So we're going to add in the darkness of the trees. There is a lot of darkness in this, but I put the light in so I could preserve that. And one of the things I'm remembering too is as I'm adding the leaves in, I need to protect some of the sky. So let's keep going and see how this comes out. At this point, I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more color into the sky in the background. So I chose a slight, like pinkish red for me to add in and for me to add a glow into the tree. So you're going to see me pick that color up and begin to add that in. I'm going to remove the masking fluid, and the way that I do it, I have a rubber cement eraser, and I gently rub it on where all of that masking fluid was, and it picks it up like really smoothly. Does not tear the paper at all. You could use an eraser. I would recommend like a gum eraser. That's the gray ones that stretch. And I have a square artist eraser that I at times will use too. When I'm finishing up with that, I'll take my hand that's clean, doesn't have oil on it, so I've already washed it, dried it, and I will rub my hand gently over top of the picture to make sure I get any leftover residue of that masking fluid. And then from there, I'm going to add in a little bit more of my yellows and my oranges in here, and the leaf structure just to make it really pop. And then I'm going to finish off some more detail on these tree trunks. If you've seen my videos enough, then you know I'm using a Mincho Micron pen, and I'm using about a size 0.04 on this one, 0.4, sorry, 0.4. And I'm adding in my tree trunk stubs that are sticking out. I could have used a very thin pen or a thin paintbrush to do that, but there's times this is very practical, it's very easy. And I still think I have the credibility of the artwork that I've produced, and I don't mind adding a pen in. It looks like it is paint, but it just happens to be a marker. So I'm adding in detail enough to develop the woods and develop the background branches, so I can finalize up some more detail and see what else I want to do in this picture. Now I'm going to add in more depth into the landscape below by adding in more green, more vibrancy, but I'm also going to increase the darkness and the shadows that are in this picture. That's going to give this depth. It's going to make it look like more of a three-dimensional picture, and we're looking way back into those woods. And I enjoyed the glow of the trees that are in here, the yellow and the orange, so I highlighted that by adding more of that into this picture. Fall's coming here in Michigan. I live in Michigan in the US, and we have a lot of trees that will change color during this time of year, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I am simply creating a painting that we can paint for fall, hang it up, do what we want to do with it. One thing I do want to point out is that the pathway that's in the lower third on the right, there's a cerulean blue in there. That's a puddle. And when I see the reflection that is in, the water reflection, a lot of times it's got the cerulean blue. That is an excellent color to use within your picture and for mud puddles and letting that sun shine through. So this is the final picture. Guys, hit subscribe. I would love to see you next time. Be sure to give me your comments, your feedback, your thoughts, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.